Hey guys, it's Val. I know that it is 12 o'clock here PST. I will be giving my tutorial on how to make a music mix using Ableton very shortly. Some people are just now logging in, are a little bit behind, so we're just gonna be a little courteous and give them a couple minutes to catch up. So hang tight, and in a minute or two, we're going to start everything out. So thanks for tuning in, those of you guys that are here. Much love to the Beats by Girls family. And yeah, they've just been so fantastic, and I hope you guys will continue to support them and other women and girls, non-binary people that are in music and trying to express themselves / bring enjoyment to you guys too. So we'll start in a second. Also, if you have any questions, the people at Beats by Girls are going to be fielding them, so make sure you write them down and submit them, and we'll try to get to as many as your questions that I can answer as possible. So yeah, we are going to begin with from the top. So basically, I am going to be reviewing with you, again, how to make a music mix using Ableton. My name is Val Fleury. I am a DJ. I do some music production. I have co-hosted radio shows as well, and I really just love it. So basically, you can catch me over here on the interwebs at iamvalfleury.com or on all the socials at iamvalfleury.com. Well, I am Val Fleury. So yeah. So we're gonna go over a little bit about me. We're gonna do a little tutorial, and then I'll answer the questions at the end. So, oh, hi Jen Wu. I saw that you said hello. So about me, I am an Aries. I love ice cream and long walks on the beach. But really, who doesn't? What you should really know about me is that I'm obsessed with tennis. I was just talking to some of the girls about this before. I love technology, I love music, and I love traveling and getting to meet new people around the world. What I think really ties all of these together is just the opportunity that beyond like what people individual stories are, or like even language barriers, anyone really can play sports, anyone can figure out technology, anyone can love and appreciate music and be open and available to connect with other people. I think that's what ties them all together. So I have a little bit of photos here about me. Like, again, I love to travel. That's me in Turkey last December. Actually, that was 2 Decembers ago. Last December, I was in Brazil, and I just love this sign, which pretty much says like a common world amongst people of different origin is possible, and it's in all these different languages. And I actually got to play in Brazil last year. This is me giving a talk on design and technology at USC. I am obsessed with tennis. This is my tennis partner, Natalia. And this was just a meetup that happened last year with a bunch of women, non-binary people that are in music and DJ. And this was so fantastic. I really thought only like 10 people would show up, and it was just so many awesome people. So yeah, shout out to the growing numbers of women and girls in music technology, DJing, production, all that good stuff. So here I am playing at a couple places. I have been DJing for about 8 years now. Some of these are like some of the highlights that I really enjoyed. Like this was Coachella last year. This one was at the American Music Awards. This one was at Pride last year. I don't know where I found this sweater, but I really love it. This was me playing in China at Le Baron, which is a really awesome club. This was at Brooklyn Bowl a couple years ago, and this was me just this January, I believe, at CES in Las Vegas. And yeah, so what really it boils down to is like, I know this is funny, but I'm really just you know, a trapped middle child in a really large, loud very Liberian family. And I think that it really boils down to me like having to have learned empathy to problem solve and be useful, like with my hands or technology or just like my brain, being able to communicate well, to stand out, as well as to connect with other people, and just finding like creative ways around things. I think those are all like values of middle children in general, but this has really like worked to power me like personally and professionally. And so yeah, that's just kind of me in a nutshell. Some fun stats is like, again, I've been DJing for 8 years. I've played in 5 continents. I play over 50 gigs a year. I go to about 100 shows a year as well. I have about 2 songs out, like official singles. I've worked on remixes for the following artists. Like one of my good friends is Gavin Turek, and the guys from Saint Motel. Monogen is another good friend of mine, and like Salvador Santana, who is the son of Carlos Santana. Some of my music and even mixes have been in the following publications, like AfroPunk, Blavity, NYLON, Noisey, and Nest HQ. So basically, you can do this for fun, or you can do it to get published. And so when we're about to go into the case study part, we're just keeping a couple questions in mind, like, you always want to ask yourself, like, why are you making this mix? Because it could be for various reasons. It could be various lengths that you need. You need to understand what is and what type of DAWs exist. You're going to understand what this acronym is, DAW, DAW. We're going to go over some Ableton basics. I'm going to go over kind of like my workflow and organization, my overall process, and kind of how to export and publish your mix at the end. So you want to, again, start with asking, why am I making this mix? It could be for various reasons, like emotive, like back in the day, people used to make mixtapes for like friends or someone you liked, or you're going on a road trip. For me, a lot of times when I make mixes for myself, they're kind of functional. When I often make like 30-minute mix because I'm like, I want people to listen to this on their way somewhere. Like on the way to, you know, a tennis match, or like on the way to a party or driving. Usually it's within 30 minutes, so I kind of stick my mixes around it being that functionally. It could be to showcase your work for gigs. Sometimes, you know, a booker might be interested in you, or a client might be interested in you, but they're just like, I've never seen her play, I've never heard her play, so you just put a little mix together and send it to them. They're like, oh, okay, cool, this is the vibe. It could be for self-promotion. Sometimes when I know I have a single coming out, I'll do a mix to help push that, and they're like, oh, okay, we liked her mix, maybe we will feature her remix or whatever material that I'm putting out. And a lot of times, more and more people are starting to commission these mixes, so you could get paid for it. If clients like a brand is like, oh, we want something for the summer, can you make us this mix? Oftentimes they'll pay you, and it's a win-win. So we're going to this acronym now, DAW. Like, what does that mean? It literally is just, simply put, a digital audio workstation. Basically, it's an electronic device or application software used for recording, editing, or producing audio files. There's a wide variety of configurations for various DAWs, but basically it has a central interface, and it just allows you to like alter or mix recordings and tracks into like one final produced piece that you export to wherever you want it to go. And so some of the more like common and familiar popular ones are GarageBand. Like, I don't know, a lot of you are on Macs, but I think that comes with Macs for the most part. That's where I started, to be honest. GarageBand, and then when you get a little fancier, you go to Logic Pro. A lot of people use Fruity Loops Studios, Reason. There's Pro Tools, but the one we're going to go over today is Ableton, which I have been using for the last several years. And basically they provide a unique software and hardware for music creation and performance. They have product lines that they work with One is Ableton Live. That's what we're going to go over today. They also have the Push, and they also have Link. They were founded in 1999. I think they're based in Germany. And basically, the first version of Ableton Live came out in 2021, so almost 20 years ago. Pretty crazy how time flies. But basically, the people who are using this, the community are like, you know, musicians, sound designers, artists, creatives all over the world. So we're going to move into the actual fun part now, but I just wanted to go over some of those fundamentals with you, go over some of the questions we're going to be covering, and give this important disclaimer. Like, I am not Ableton certified. Let me say that again. I'm not Ableton certified. I love Ableton. I use it the way that I know how, that I've learned to use it. I just do what I do, and what we're going to cover today is what I do. So if I'm sure that there are going to be faster, quicker, more efficient ways than I do it, but I just thought I'd show you my little quick and dirty, and will help you hop on your feet, feel confident to get started as well. So before we're over that, we're going to have to go over some basics in Ableton. So, you know, they have session view versus arrangement view. I'm going to go over like setting your preferences, what audio versus MIDI is, cover the browser library window, talk to you about the mixer, metronome, BPM, and loops are like the things that I focus on mostly. But taking a step back from that, I was going to go over getting my tracks together first. So when I say getting the tracks together, it's organization. You kind of can't get to, once you understand Ableton, getting to use Ableton, there's a step that comes before this, which is the organization. So I take inspiration from anywhere. Like sometimes I feel so rude. I'll just be somewhere and I'm just always Shazamming. Shazam. I'll pull over somebody and be like, oh, like I've driven past people and we get to the red light and I'm like, excuse me, excuse me. What song is that? And like literally would just coast next to them and until they tell me what track I overheard them playing. So getting organized to get the tracks, getting them in order, mapping out the BPM and the key. So let's do that. All right. For me, it kind of all starts in iTunes. So I will find all the tracks that I want. I'll buy them. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes friends give them to me. But when friends don't give them to me, I will buy them just to support, you know, the community. But not everyone can do that. So however you get your tracks, get them organized in a collection. My choice is usually iTunes. A lot of times, I don't know if y'all see how many playlists I have for days here, but usually I will pick about 100 songs. I kind of like filtered some of this just for time's sake, but usually it'll be like, I want to make a mix called Deep Inside, and there's literally 255 songs. I never really just, you know what I'm gonna do. I just keep pulling a bunch of songs in a folder, and I'll get back to it later. So this is getting back to it later here. And so once I have my 100 songs, I will then start to, I look in this column here that says comments. I like to make sure that the tracks are complementary in key. And so where you see here it says comments, a lot of them are like 2A, 4A. This is what mixed in key, this program will categorize them by complementary keys here. And so I'll know, like, if the song Funk That is 2A, I'm only gonna go one up or one down if I can, or one over. So I would try to pair it next with a 1A song, a 3A song, or a 2B song, if it's possible, just to make sure that it has some oral compatibility with the next track. And so sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But for example, like all these are 2As. This is 9A going to 10A, and then these are 8As here. It's fine. So what I would normally do, let's just pick this song here, Funk Naso. I would literally just drop it into mixed in key here. It'll do its thing. And then give me all the information. The tempo is 128. The key is 10A. It'll number the energy too, so I know if I'm playing a club or whatever. It helps me to understand all of that. And so what I would then, it's like then sometimes it automatically updates here, so that's helpful. This song here, too much information. I do the same thing. I would do this for all 100 songs just so I have my starting point and I know what I want to complement with each other. And so for time's sake, we are just going to go with a couple of the ones that are already here. So the ones that I'm not using, I will just delete. Like, I'm not going to use them people. I'm going to use Funk That through Echo Off the Wall. So my vibe for the most part of the track, my rhyme and reason, like I mostly play house and not like the light stuff, not radio stuff. No offense to anyone who like that, but I love like classic Chicago, Detroit, dirty house. And I love techno as well. I'm African, I'm Liberian, so I always try to keep sprinkles of like ancestral vibes to the tracks too. So if we go through all these, you will hear that they all fit into one of those three subcategories for the most part. I also look to put like parody where it's like half of the tracks are by or produce or vocally feature women. So it's like equal between like the men and women on the tracks. I try to look for a lot of international artists because I am, you know, like from a Liberian background. Like my family's I'm first gen. My family's immigrated here in the 90s. So I also, that attracts me a lot here. And I also try to find a lot of LA artists. So for example, Channel Trez, Keman, More Elian, Felix, he's British, but now lives here in LA. And I worked on this track with him. So I'll always try to put in at least one of my remixes or one of my own tracks in the mix too, just because I think it's fun. So once I've organized this, I have all of my keys here. Serato will also process your key. So if you have Serato, which I think there's a free version, if you literally open up Serato and put these these tracks and analyze them, they will give you the key and the BPM as well. So that's another option if you don't have mixed in key. All right, so once we have our organization done, what happened to my slide window? All right, so once we have our organization done, we open up Ableton Live. And here's what it looks like off the bat. Basically, what we have here is Ableton has two views that you can see or can like work with your music. This one here is called the session view. And then this one here, if you click this button, is called the arrangement view, where you can like, this mimics like when you first open GarageBand or Logic. I work mostly in this. I like literally never really touch session view. But what's really cool about session view here is you can really see like what tracks you're working in, like MIDI or audio. You can see here MIDI or audio. What's also covered here too is like the volume of the track. You can solo it, you can mute it out, you can pan it as well. And so those tracks that you had in iTunes, you would just drop them into here. So I've already preloaded those. We're gonna open it so you can see what I'm talking about. close this guy here, just make things go a little faster. So I already dumped some of those tracks in here. If we go to back to iTunes, it's as easy as literally just going like this, dragging it, and it'll do its magic. Just like that. And so right now, the next step that I normally do is you need to warp this track so you can be able to put warp markers, because sometimes when the songs are recorded, they're not necessarily on the one beat. And so to make sure that it'll keep in time as you're arranging these tracks, just so it sounds good when you arrange them, you wanna warp them. And so what you do is click. So let me zoom out for you here. What I do is I click into the track here. I hit this button that says warp. And I'll play it. And this is where it's important to know what the BPM is. So this song, Funk That, is 125. Before you start putting the warp markers in, I will move this to be the original BPM. So it was 123, now we're making it 125, just so I can hear that it will be on the beat. And it's not. So I zoom out, actually zoom in, pardon me, and then I'll set this, right click, set one here, and then listen again. Warp from here, 125. And now you hear it's better on the beat, a little off still. So I'll like put these warp markers in, just so they'll stay better on the beat. And you can like physically see like they're a little bit off. Now it's on again. And you don't have to painstakingly do it. You don't have to painstakingly do it. I'll just find major sections and make sure that they stay on the beat. It's just quick and dirty. So let's try this section here.
Who approaches me looking for their friend Molly.
Great.
Who is Molly? I don't know her. Fuck that.
I can see here physically it's a little bit off. So warp marker and just move it up on the one again.
Fuck that.
All right, cool. I can listen to that song all day, but we need to move on. So the same thing that we just did, before I even arrange any of them in this session, I will literally go down and do what I'm doing right now to every last one of these tracks. So let's do 2 more, since the other one's already done. So again, when I double click that track, this clip view happens here. We need to reference what the BPM of this next track is. So the second track, Magic Mirror, is 123. I am going to go make the BPM 123 and listen. You can hear it's like it's off. So what I do is, I forgot to turn this to complex. That was the other thing that I usually do. All right, so again, you zoom in, set the 1. And when I'm setting the 1, it's kind of like the first like beat that you see here. So all this is like kind of white noise, like space. So we're gonna make this guy here, set it to 1. Start from here. zoom out, and you can hear it's now on the beat, whereas before it was like, all right, let's continue. It's still on. Great. All right, then I'll move to another big section of the song and see if everything's still on the beat. Here I can visually see that it's a little bit off. I can't necessarily hear it, but I can see it. So I'm just going to stretch it back on the one. I'm going to go to another section. Like this is a little off. All right, cool. And then let's do this guy too, the same thing. Warp. Sorry, before we warp, we see that it's 120. Warp, complex, and zoom in. Actually, let's hear what this one's in.
But you ain't never heard shit like this.
It's good.
Yeah, top down.
So for this one, I know it has a lot of like things happening in the beginning. I'm just gonna go straight here and move everything to the one. Just adjust it and listen to
This
it.
for the black before. Yeah, top down. Yeah, top down. Features. Yeah, top down.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
not
top down.
perfect, but it's
My niggas,
good
yeah, bitch.
enough.
Because it match my goal. Because it match my goal. Top down. Yeah. Top down. My creeper. Don't be shy with your features. Top down. Top down.
Cool. We have some warp markers. I think we can move ahead to this last song here. So this last one is 124. So we make it 124. Warp. Complex. Start at the beginning. The first beat is here. So we're gonna do set here. Ooh, that is not the one. Double click, set one here, and warp from here. Cool. This one's on beat, so great. Double check a couple parts. Looks good. Alright, cool. So then what I usually do from here is, even though some of these tracks are already here, I'm just trying to work pretty fast. That's why they exist already. But normally this will all be empty. And I will take this first track, Funk That. I know that it starts at 125 here from the BPM. So I just like to start the whole project in the BPM of the first track. So then what you do is just click on it and switch over to arrangement view and just literally plop it in. It's going to be kind of grayed out like this. You just hit this button here and now you'll be able to hear it. So you still hear the metronome going. Everything sounds on the beat. For me, this is kind of long. Like, again, the reason why I'm making this mix is I usually try to do 30 minutes, something that people could party to or like enjoy on their way to an event, a party, a club, or whatever they're doing, workout. And so I'm never going to play the whole length of this thing. I usually do about a minute to 2 minutes maximum of each song. And so I know this has a really long intro, so I'm just gonna listen to where the lyrics kind of come in, or the upbeat. Something like that. Oh, no.
Question.
There it is. So. So then what I usually do is I just come here, the part that I know I want to start soon, I'll just come in here and literally split this track. And maybe I'll keep, it's all your preference really, but usually I'll just cut maybe this part here, and I'll just do delete time. And just so I keep myself, in order to know that I cut this, I'll change the color. And what you do is you right click, and then you have all these, you can assign whatever color you want to them. I can make it purple if I want, but I'll just usually keep it to a color that's, you know, not a shade that far from it. That sounded good to me. Or if this isn't like so neat, I'll zoom in and maybe like cover a couple more beats from the bars before to make it more seamless. No, that was fine. It's all subjective, so. And the metronome, just to make sure it's still on beat.
Question. Why are we still concerned in the 21st?
Before we continue, actually, a trick that someone told me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I always do it to all my mixes, is there was issues with SoundCloud and like rights holders and stuff in the beginning, whereas like if you use a track that's recognized right away in the first like 10 seconds or 5 seconds of your mix, they would like flag you. And so what I always just do is I literally will take a couple bars and just leave white space. So when they process, when they analyze the first couple seconds of my mix, they won't pick up anything that's there, and it'll be less likely to flag me. But I don't know if that's something you should take off and run with, but I just click insert silence and just leave like, you know, 8 bars or something like that with just silence. So here we go.
Question. Why are we still concerned in the 21st century?
Okay, and so this part here of the song, what I just did was I split it again. It's Command E. That's a shortcut. I know that funk that is like a recurring theme in this song, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, so I'll find another part that says funk that, or listen to a section of the song where I can start to outro into the next song.
Why is it that?
And they talk a lot in this song, so.
Question.
We ain't trying to do another one. We're trying to find another part. So maybe this funk that part here.
Question. Why is it when I go, who is Molly? I don't know her.
So yeah, this part you can physically see like it's starting to thin out. Maybe that this is going to be like, you know, the outro or something like that. So I'll go with this. So funk that. One. So here's the one. I'll just find that other funked out part.
Mind your business. Funk that.
One. And then, fingers crossed that this will match. I'm going to delete this whole chunk here. And let's remember. So I had split this part here. So I'm just going to color it a different color just so I know. This is how I personally do it, just so I know that I made an edit or a cut somewhere else in the song, that it's not all right. Sometimes you can't see the split part right.
Funk that.
So I will start going to the next song around here. Maybe around here. So I would end it right here on the 1 and just delete that extra part that I'm not going to use. So that's like the first song in the 11 song sequence here. I would literally do the same thing that we just did for this with the second song here. So Magic Mirror, I would, this one's kind of long. So what I'm going to do is take this here and just bring it down, I guess. I usually like to keep one track that is kind of like my import track, and then I can chop it up as I want and then just put them all together. There's no kind of rhyme and reason other than keeping stuff clean, but that's usually what I do. So now that I've chopped up this first song the way that I like it, I'm gonna bring the second song up here. In order to do that, again, what I said, the second song is 123, so I'm now going to make the BPM for this whole thing 123, and then bring it in. Later on, you can, change. Actually, let's just bring in a track because this one's super long. And so what you would do for there is create, it's an audio track. So I just dropped that in. It doesn't matter really where you are, but I like to put it on top just so I know that that is kind of like my workflow. All the new tracks that I'm bringing in will live in the first audio file. As I chop them up and edit it, then I'll bring them down to the other tracks. So this is the solo button here. I just want to hear this one for now. I just want to hear how it sounds. Okay, cool. So let's hear when things start to happen in this song, and then I'll work backwards. And put the metronome on. It's on the beat, great. So that was a fun little part here. So here's this one. I'm going to split it here. Let's hear what other nuggets in here. Long song, guys. Okay, this is an interesting part. So I'm actually gonna focus my energy on this part here, being the transition. So I just split it again, and I'm gonna delete this and drag this over here. All right, and so I'm just gonna go with these 16 bars, maybe just put them on top, layer them to see how that will end up. I might have to cut this again, that's fine. Okay, I will have to cut this. Instead of hitting putting your mouse here and split, if you put your mouse here and it becomes that little C, you can just drag it too. So I'm just cutting it to kind of see how let's see if I layer it some more. Just drag it over to the left. Yeah, that's much better. And I'm going to let them finish the word that. Again, that C, but in the other direction. Funk that. Okay, that's cool. Eventually you'll start getting into like filtering and stuff, but right now we're just dealing with like layering and arrangement. And this had a nice little piece in front of it, so let's just see how that part
For business.
Let's see, maybe like on the track volume, like maybe I'll sneak this in gradually. Like right now it's all the way at 0 is like the full volume, but what I'm doing is I'm lowering the beginning of this and see if it will can gradually build up as this part, as this track here, the master volume for this one can start to gradually go down. So mixer, track volume, and gradually go down. Just make it sound better. That's what I do. That's probably the most important thing to focus on. Like, you know, maybe definitely arranging them, laying the tracks accordingly, like the first track, second track, third track, you know, getting your whole hour or half an hour. The tracks should be arranged and that they can layer into each other and it sounds good. Don't necessarily focus on too much like, you know, audio effects, whether you're gonna, you know, do some delays or flanger or filtering or anything like that. I think the most important thing right now is just like arranging them. So this is my first track, second track, third track here, fourth track here, fifth track here. You know, until you get to the end, like you get to your 1 hour or right now, this whole thing here, if you look here, this is kind of like the timeline. This whole thing at the moment is 25 minutes long. That's how you know. So it ends up all looking like this. Sorry, this is taking some time to save. But I know I wanted to show you what the end version ended up looking like and hearing it out and save time to show you how to export and get it up on the interwebs or to your friends. So here is the final version. If you have questions, make sure you send them in so I can be able to answer them. I'll make sure to have about 5 to 10 minutes at the end to be able to answer your questions. So what I was saying, again, is like making sure that all of your tracks, this is track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4. I try to get fancy over here and like kind of layered them in a weird way that sounds cool though. Get all your tracks aligned. And then worry about effects and filtering and stuff like that afterwards. And again, to recap, that's where you would get your effects, or over here in the browser library. They have so many instruments, so many racks, so many effects available for you. You literally just drag that over to the section that you want, and that's how you would be able to apply it. The final version, like I told you in the beginning, to get over that Spotify kind of like go around, as you can see here, I have the few bars open in the front, and what you do here is at the end, if you hit this button, it kind of collapses all of these tracks. So to see the full waveforms down here, and so what I do then is I highlight this whole thing here. I literally put my mouse at the end, I highlight it, and then I go File, Export. First, before you even export, what you should always do is you should save your work, and when you save your work, make sure you do collect all and save, not just save a copy or whatever. Collect all and save means that it's going to look into your computer, and wherever those tracks that you put in here, wherever they are, maybe they're in your downloads folder, one is in some long lost folder you haven't seen since 1997, what it's going to do is literally find in your computer where all those tracks are and collect them in one place and save it for you. So your computer isn't like working so hard. Your CPU, which is like kind of like your computer power, isn't going to be like trying so hard in the future. So once you do that, collect all and save, then highlight here, File, Export Audio, and you'll get this pop up here. I like to save mine in WAV, which is really big, but that's like, to me, the best quality sound, and 16. And all you do is export it. It's going to ask you where you want it to export to. And then just save it wherever on your computer. And then once you will be able to go to that file later on. And then what you do then is you go to, let's say, any of your options. You have a lot. There's SoundCloud, there's Mixcloud. You can send it as an email to friends. You can put it up on your socials. You just need to make sure you know where you are saving it as. And I just put mine to SoundCloud, basically, or Mixcloud. That is kind of it. I wanted to leave like 10 minutes for questions. And if you guys do, I'm happy to take them. So I'm just looking here. Creepy. Okay. Well, if there are no questions, I was just going to pull up my SoundCloud then and show you some of the mixes that I have available here. The one that you just heard me give an example of is actually on my SoundCloud, and I was going to, what are some of your go-to effects? Okay. Some of my go-to effects, I keep it real simple. You can actually see them on this project when you click this button here. These red lines are the effects, and basically I keep it really simple. This one here, I just am applying the track value.
I know they see nothing, and you know, when they see Yapa, I know they see person. I am making a dance, I am making a dance, I am making a dance.
This guy, you hear nothing. This is all the effect. It might not even sound like an effect to you, but it can be used as an effect. So I also have applied here audio filter. So you can see that down here to this one. I'm not using audio filter for that specific track, but I have applied 2 audio filters in a mixer for this whole track row. Sorry, I'm reading the questions. I have delay is another one that I use a lot. Like, you didn't hear my drop in the beginning, but my friend recorded this off just his microphone.
Vous écoutez le mix
This is
de Val Fleury.
Delay. It's called sloppy delay.
Vous écoutez le mix
You can see it here.
de Val Fleury.
Yeah. Right now I just have it soloed, but on top this is what it sounds like.
Vous écoutez le mix de Val Fleury.
Yeah. So just like delay, volume, and just EQ filters, easy ones basically. The next question that came by is how do you share your mix and get listeners and followers? So I just showed you how I share my mix. Just highlight the whole thing, export to audio. Once you know where your files are, then you just go to SoundCloud or wherever you're uploading it to, and you just hit upload here, and you just choose the file where it is, and it will just upload for you. So if you look on my SoundCloud account, I think I have like maybe 20 different mixes up there from over the years. And again, getting people to listen to them is just a matter of it's just a matter of like, I literally just cold email blogs and magazines sometimes. And I'm just like, hey, I think you would be interested in this. It helps when you have like a theme, like, you know, maybe I'll do a summertime in the spring. I know that summer is coming up, so I'll do a summer related mix, and it helps them with their content, right? So it's like one less thing they have to do, like, oh, here's a summer mix, you know, by Val Fleury, and Galore magazine picks it up because they have to do content, but it just needs to be applicable for them. Or like if I use you know, a couple artists in my mix, I'll just send them a nice little message like, hey, I really loved your song, I made a little mix and I included you in it. If it's not a big deal for you, would you be willing to repost it for me? And more times out of not, they will do it. Why did I choose Ableton over other software? I chose Ableton because like literally everyone was using Ableton. Like I have no other reason. Everyone that I knew and was learning from at the time was using Ableton. And so I just used what my friends were using. It is like industry standard though, like in electronic dance music. A lot of my other friends who are in bands and stuff will use Logic or Reason. I kind of think it sort of depends on like what industry you're in, to be honest. But for dance music, electronic music, most people use Ableton. And you can also use Ableton as an instrument, to be honest with you. Like they have a lot of like these clips. If you have, let's say, a synthesizer or a drum rack or any of these MPCs, like you literally could play your DJ set or make a live song in real time using Ableton. A lot of the other DAWs, you can't do that. So it's like a lot of things in one. You have a lot of versatility with Ableton. And they have a lot of support like for the scene. I'm really impressed at how well Ableton like does in regards to like energy and output and like fantastic products. So I'm not getting paid to say this at all, but I'm a huge fan of Ableton, and I really enjoy their products. So the other question is, would like to know more about the master part. What native tools do you use? I don't. I literally do things quick and dirty. I'm not a I'm not an engineer. So I haven't had the chance to really sit in. Even when I work on my own songs and such, I literally will produce the song and then I'll turn it over to someone who is like a specialist in mix and mastering, because I'm not. So will get it to sound as much as I can, apply my own audio effects and filters. Like Ableton has you can use plugins as well, like if you're more into like the engineering part of it, but for the most part I'm not an engineer. So I have ideas, I put them down, I record them myself, I'll arrange them, I'll add what effects that I want. Sometimes I'll add certain plugins, but after that I work with an actual like engineer to sweeten what I've already done. Any more questions? Cool. Well, if not, I just again wanted to thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and especially Beats by Girls. Do I have any upcoming DJ gigs? You should ask COVID. I don't have any live gigs coming up reasonably during the global pandemic, but I have been playing sets for brands from time to time, like private ones, and I often will post that on my Instagram, or I'll make mention of it, so please be on the lookout. And for all things me, again, you can go to my website as I am Val Fleury, so I am Val Fleury, VALFLEURY. And the same for socials. It's I am Val Fleury on all the channels. Cool. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys again. I wish you an awesome weekend, and feel free to reach out to me if you have further questions. I'm more than happy to do this again. So yeah, see you next time.